If 2020 hasn't blasted us enough, we now have Mostert hurt. Barkley potentially done for the year with a torn ACL. He grabbed the back of his knee, typically a sign that the ACL is torn, and he had a whole lot of pain to go along with it, typically meaning that there's torn meniscus or an MCL or an LCL. Not looking good for Barkley. I expect him to be done for the year.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
No. I'm not done yet. And especially you 49er people, I feel bad for you. Jimmy G out with an ankle. Raheem Mostert off to an outstanding start to the 2020 season. Top 5 to 10 running back potential. First, he breaks off an 80-yard run, breaking the speed record. Now he's done with a knee injury. We don't know how bad it is yet. We'll find out more later tonight, probably during the Thursday night game. I'm only breaking down the Sunday morning and afternoon games. Monday night to come, Thursday night to come. We should know more on Mostert very soon. How much more can a 49er fan endure? Jimmy G, Mostert. You couldn't endure more if you're a 49er fan, right? Nick Bosa, done for the year, torn ACL. Probably the most devastating injury of them all. It just keeps getting piled on by 2020. We're going to start calling 2020
the Chupacabra.
2020, I'm convinced, is the
Chupacabra.
And if you didn't already have enough suffering as a 49er fan, being down Kittle, being down Debo, now you've got no Jimmy G, no Nick Bosa, no Mostert. Ayuk's been hurt constantly. What's left? Somehow they won the game. Oh, I just had to scroll by Saquon Barkley again. That was depressing. Cam Akers, not a surprise to me that he got hurt the way he plays, lowering his head constantly, running into people with it. He doesn't use his shoulder and lower his head. He literally rams people with his head constantly. The guy's a walking injury waiting to happen, clearly. Darrell Henderson, who I still believe in talent-wise, I don't believe in that Rams coaching staff and the decisions they make as it relates to the running back. But Darrell Henderson, 80 yards and a touchdown. Maybe we see Darrell get a little run, and his talent will win out if given the opportunity. Number 1 running back in college football history right now in yards per attempt. More 40 and 20 plus yard runs than anybody in the nation 2 years ago. The guy averaged something like 7.8 yards per carry in both 2017 and 2018. Give Darrell a shot on your waiver wire. I don't trust the Rams, but he's worth a shot. There it is again. Oh, look, another injury. The 2020
Chupacabra
strikes again. Locke. The report says Locke was smushed into the turf while scrambling to keep the play alive. Grabbed his right shoulder. I kind of worried about Locke. Locke didn't feel like an elite quarterback to me. The 2020
Chupacabra
tried to take out Jeudy, but couldn't. He returned after missing time in the first half. Let's go over some top performers. Zeke Elliott, 22 totes for 89 and 1 touchdown. Look for top 5 running back numbers moving forward, especially with the loss of Saquon Barkley. And believe it or not, A-Rob is healthy. That's how he plays this year. 3 catches for 33 yards. Thanks, A-Rob. Derrick Henry, 84 yards. James Conner bouncing back, 116 and a touchdown. Not sure what to make of him in fantasy. I think I'd probably sell high and get out of that situation before he ends up getting hurt again. McKinnon's an interesting pickup because if Mostert's out a while, 77 yards and a touchdown, he looked pretty good. He looked like Mostert on the field. And the 49ers, second best rushing attack in the league last year, they will feed McKinnon enough if he's the guy. So look to pick him up. Amari Cooper, 100 yards, good outing. Todd Gurley, sell him high if you can. Sell medium. Sell him for whatever you can that's on the cheap right now. Guys that are maybe underperforming that you like better, because I do not have faith in Todd Gurley making it the whole year. Bounce back out of DJ Moore, 120. There's my boy Darrell, 81 and a score. Pick him up. Malcolm Brown only had 47 yards. Give Darrell the football. Matt Ryan having himself a year. 273 and 4 TDs in week 2 after a monster week 1. Probably your number 1 quarterback in fantasy right now. As it says at the bottom of the screen, week 3 will be tough against the Bears, but he is a top 5 quarterback right now. No question about it. Don't get all crazy and be like, oh, he's number 1, Smitty. I'm never drafting Mahomes or Lamar again. But I love Ryan. I admit I undervalued Ryan coming into 2020. Oopsie on me. Take a lap for me.
Take a lap. Take a lap.
Jordan Reed. I mean, could he stay healthy? Miles Sanders back in week 2, 20 totes for 95 yards and a touchdown. He did fumble the ball in this game, and I think there's reason to worry. They're talking to Devonta Freeman. Why call Devonta Freeman kick the tires? I don't think so. They're worried a little bit about Miles. I'd be worried a little bit too, and 95 and a touchdown is a good uptick in value for you. Go test out the trade waters and see what you can get. Fant, another touchdown at 57 yards. Calvin Ridley, if you didn't know it, it's a top 5 wide receiver. Calvin Ridley, you start over Julio if you own the 2.
Wow.
Holding in 7 of his 10 targets for 109 and 2 touchdowns. He has 16 receptions, 239 and 4 TDs in 2 games, averaging 11 targets an outing.
Wow.
The 2020 Chupacabra cannot contain him. Gesicki finally dropping a big game, 129 and a touchdown. Will that continue? I'd trade him high. If you're in a big league, grab DeAndre Swift off waivers. He could increase in value in the coming weeks, so stash. Tom Brady had a good start to this game, only finished with 1 touchdown, had an INT, had 217 in the air. He's getting Godwin back. Have faith in Tom Brady. He will be a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, moving forward. Diggs had a day, pulling in 8 of 13, 153 and a touchdown. Diggs looked great. Josh Allen looks great. Josh Allen loves everybody. Diggs, John Brown. I do wish Zach Moss had a bigger game in this one, but that creates a buy low opportunity for the crafty fantasy owner. Go get Zach Moss coming off of a disappointing outing where people thought he could get a lot of extended run in this game. Not every rookie has to break out by week 2, week 3, week 4. I think we might have been a little early on the fantasy football show calling for the champagne orders waiting for us after week 2, but I have faith in my boy Zach Moss, so go grab him if he's cheap. Dak, 450 and 1 touchdown, 3 rushing TDs. What a game for Dak. And what a comeback. You would have said I was crazy if I told you in the 4th quarter they were going to come back and win this game. You probably left and got a burrito and you came back thinking, oh, the Falcons crushed them. James Robinson doing James Robinson things, finally 16 carries for 102 and a touchdown. He is a mandatory flex and a pretty decent low-end running back too if you got hit by injury already in 2020. So if you've got him, get excited. Carson Wentz, I worry about. I think at some point Hurts gets in there and plays well, and I think we have a controversy, or maybe not even a controversy heading into 2021. I'm saying it right here. Big Ben doing Big Ben things. 311 and 2 touchdowns. He looked pretty good. Tyler Higbee, 54 and 3 TDs. Get that boy in your lineup if you don't have him in there already. If you don't have him in your lineup,
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Goff, don't worry about it. Minshew, 3 TDs, 339. Gotta love the guy. Melvin Gordon against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 19 totes for 70 yards, and he added 2 receptions for 14 and a score. Good game for Melvin, and with Lindsey maybe out a couple more weeks, he's going to be fed a ton in the coming weeks. Get him in your lineup. Leonard Fournette, 12 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Maybe there's still a shot this guy could be a high-end running back too. He could screw it up in a whole bunch of different ways. The same red flags he had in Jacksonville, but there's upside here. And if you were able to pick him up off waivers coming out of week 1, because people have this knee-jerk reaction every year coming out of week 1, congratulations if you got him. And if you held on to him, you could look to sell him high or wait a week and see if he produces another solid effort and kind of solidifies himself in other people's minds as a guy that can be counted on, and maybe you can make a trade. Mike Evans, you can't get him cheap anymore. 7 receptions out of the 10 targets, 104 and a touchdown, and he looked great. Montgomery got hurt a little bit. 2020 tried to take him out, but he came back in 82 yards and caught all 3 of his targets for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. We may see Monty play pretty well if he can stay healthy on the field. Aaron Rodgers is still a beast. He's 36 years old. Oh, he's done, Smitty. No, he's not. 240 and 2 coming off a big week 1. That's over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2 weeks, baby. And Devontae Adams didn't even go nuts in week 2. We're going to finish the morning games off with Aaron Jones, 18 carries, 168, 2 touchdowns. He caught 4 of 8 targets, 68 yards and another score. Jones is heavily involved in this offense, and I think that won't change as long as he stays on the field. Injury is my only worry. It's a big worry, but it's my only worry. But ride the wave. 168 and 2 and another touchdown through the air. I'm going to give out an award for the morning games and the afternoon games, a stud award, and I'm giving it to Aaron with his big 3 TD 200 total yard game that he had in week 2. Okay, so before we get to the afternoon games, the updates are rolling in on some of these morning guys I just talked about. Drew Lock, an update already. 2 to 6 weeks will be missed with an AC joint sprain. Not good news if you're a Denver Bronco fantasy owner. Guys, everyone's going to endure these injuries all off season long now. Not everybody's going to have a Saquon Barkley take out their entire season, but people will be hampered all year long. So understand that and keep fighting the fight. Pick up the right guys at the right time. They can save your season. You could get that next big guy that wins you a league. And we got another update that Mostert has a mild MCL sprain. Kind of good news, because that could be maybe a couple week thing versus a long-term injury. So I think he's very questionable to play week 3. Probably won't play week 3, but we'll get more information tomorrow on this one. But a little good news for all of you 49er fans out there. I feel so bad for you. Pat said I had to get this video under 12 minutes. We got to go speed round now. Here are the afternoon games. I'll break this one down a little different. Mahomie got 302 and 2. He had 6 runs for 54 yards, looked great on the ground. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, quiet day, 10 runs for 38 yards, but he did pull in 6 passes for 32. It's great that he got some receptions. I think that people might be a little knee-jerky on this one, so potentially buy low on Clydey boy heading into week 3. You might get somebody that's like, oh, I don't like good things. Take him. Tyreek Hill, 5 for 99 and 1. Kelsey, 9 for 90 and 1. Both guys came to work today, and Herbert looked pretty good. 311, 1 TD, 1 INT. They got themselves a future passer. What a tough situation he was thrown into. He looked pretty good. Kelly, 23 carries for 64 yards. That's a lot of work, but guess what? Gordon and Eckler coexisted. These two can coexist. And look at Eckler, 16 carries for 93 yards, 5.8 a pop. He looked fantastic. Breaking tackles left and right. He got 4 receptions for 55. That's what we were worried about. Eckler's a great buy low heading into week 3. The Ravens win this game. Lamar coasting along 204 and 1. 16 carries though on the ground. It's a boatload. 54, only 3.4 yards per carry. Kind of unusual for Lamar. Hollywood Brown, 5 for 42. Buy low. Mark Andrews, 1 for 29. Buy low. Ingram, 9 for 55 and 1. Have faith in him. And J.K. Dobbins, buy low. 2 carries for 48 yards. Why didn't they feed him more? 24 yards a carry is not enough for you. Watson, 275 and 1 with 1 INT. David Johnson looked pretty pedestrian, 3.1 a carry, 11 for 34. Tough defense, tough matchup, but I hope you can still sell high. I think he gets hurt at some point, and he had great value coming out of week 1. And Will Fuller didn't catch a pass. What happened to Will Fuller? Gibson looks pretty good. 13 carries, 55, 4.2 a pop, 1 TD. I like him. If you own him, get ready. He's going to get better and better. And I normally don't like hybrid type players coming in to be a full-time running back, but they love him there. The support by the Washington football team is why I like him so much and why I'm willing to take a risk that he can translate and become a number one running back or a number one running back for the team. McLaurin back to dropping loads on the field, 7 for 125 and 1. Peyton Barber back to being Peyton Barber, 1 carry for 1 yard. Okay, any questions about Peyton Barber anymore? Pat, can we get a ban for life if anybody asks you a question about Peyton Barber moving forward? Should I start Peyton Barber over big name player? And that does it for this week's Sunday Games Recap Show. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to the Mayo Media Network. And if Pat hasn't banned me for life for going over my allotted time, I'll see you all next week. Don't forget to find me at sleeperu.com, at smitty1.com, and on IG and Twitter.
Later.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.